Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video we are going to look at the Civivi Sentenel Strike 2. This is the model number C22025D-2. Again, the Sentenel Strike 2. Now before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Civivi who did provide this for review. And so as we get into this here, the Sentenel Strike 2, this is one of the most recent knives in the Civivi lineup at the time of this video. And it's been a while for me since I've gotten my hands on a WE or Civivi knife, so this is a nice change of pace. Civivi always doing a fantastic job. You can see this does come in the typical pouch, very standard. But as we get into this here, they always give you a few little goodies. You'll see here they are announcing and advertising their 10-year anniversary. So they were established in 2014, here now 2024. So their 10-year anniversary. Pretty cool little sticker. So they always send you a couple little extras. Your warranty card, basic product pamphlet, your cleaning cloth, and of course the knife itself. So the Civivi Sentenel Strike 2, this particular model here in Nitro V, which I love that choice of steel. For me, I end up with Nitro V on mostly my fixed blades. So to have it on a folder, I think is absolutely awesome. I love that. As we take a look at the blade, nice deployment with that flipper right away. And you also have the thumb stud, so thumb stud deployment. Perfect, nicely tuned, perfectly dialed in. You'll notice that this has a drop point design, compound grind. You'll see this has an aluminum frame with an OD green FRN insert. And what I love about this is the fact that it's fully enclosed, so you can get a real solid purchase on that. That's going to be awesome. This blade having the stonewash finish. A blade hardness of 59 to 61 HRC. Again, of course, as I mentioned, Nitro V. And I like the fact that not only does this have the compound grind, but this has an unsharpened swedge. So this is going to be an interesting knife where you're going to get some real good sliceability out of that hollow grind. You're going to get some nice tip strength out of that flat grind. And the stabability of that unsharpened swedge. This is going to be a nice little pocket tool for you for a number of different reasons. And as you take a look at the way this grind comes together, it's certainly not a Tonto, but it's Tonto-esque, where you end up with that abrupt change from the flat grind going across the bottom to the swept belly. And just a little bit of a point right there. I actually kind of like that. It aids in the ability to do some real sharp cutting down on the surface, which I think is interesting. It's going to have a fairly thin edge, all things considered, especially with that compound grind and especially through the hollowed section. This is a real cool knife. I like it already. Going through the specifications as reported by Civivi, the overall length 8.61 inches, the overall height 1.46 inches, 0.63 including the clip in terms of the thickness, your blade length 3.7 inches, closed length 4.91 inches, the stock thickness 0.12, and the overall weight being 3.69 ounces, which a lot of people who are kind of going to sweat the details and like to see the 1 ounce per blade length, well, you're spot on. You're 3.7 inches of blade length with 3.69 ounces of knife weight. So I wonder if Civivi was paying attention to that, and if they did, they absolutely nailed it. Now, a couple of details worth mentioning. First off, this is going to be a tip-up carry, so you can see tip-up carry, but you do have the ability to swap around the clip. As you take a look here, it is mounted on top of the pommel end, which is nice because you do have the ability to swap that around. So righties or lefties can certainly enjoy this the way they need. So that works out very well. And as you take a look at that pommel end, there's an integrated glass breaker, which take it or leave it in my opinion, but kind of nice that it's there. And especially where this is a fairly substantial knife, it's not going to be your small, hidden away, pocket-friendly blade. This is a little more substantial. So having a glass breaker on there might aid in your ability to, potentially self-rescue if you need to at some point. So kind of neat that it's there. Again, as we deploy the blade, leveraging the thumb stud, very simple. And this is a button lock design. So button lock seems to be fairly smooth there. The ability to open the knife easy, close it easy. This will be fidget friendly for most people. And then again with the flipper tab. Now the flipper, in my opinion, is a little bit undersized. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, and it does its job. For me, I just assume not have it at all and only leverage the thumb stud. But that's just my personal opinion. And if you take a look at how they did it, it actually integrates into a guard, which works out well. So the fact that that flipper tab extends down to the bottom, gives you a little more real estate for the guard, actually works in your advantage. And then beyond that, it integrates into a choil, which is actually very substantial. That's not just a sharpening choil, that's a full-sized finger choil, so you can get up and do more detailed work, finer tasks, and have the control that you need with this knife. And I would say that works out extremely well, especially where you end up with the compound grind, because this is going to be a slicing machine. And for those guys that like to use a folding knife in the wilderness application, this will work out very nice for feather sticks, some of those finer tasks, and the ability to do some woods processing, which is actually really, really nice. Now, I'm not going to take this knife apart, but you do have caged ceramic ball bearings, which that's going to be fantastic. Pretty standard these days. You can see they definitely did a little bit to lose some weight, especially in the FRN backspacer. They may be able to add additional materials in the future, give you some different look and feel, and some aftermarket support, which would be really cool, because that would be real simple to swap out, especially where you end up with just two simple screws on each side. Which, checking the hardware here, T6s on your frame screws, so T6s, T8 on your pivot screw, and then it looks like you would potentially need an open-ended wrench to get that glass breaker off, and I'm not entirely sure what size, but I could take a quick look, which here you can see leveraging a 6mm socket, and that fits about perfect. So I would say 6mm would do it. And last but not least, just a couple of final details. Of course, you end up with the typical Civivi pivot screw. You can see on the show side. Couple of real nice little details, like for example, some style points here with that sort of little triple cutout design, just simple little pattern there. I like the overall pattern in the FRN. That's going to aid in just a little bit of grip. I love how that carries over to the top and ties everything over. You end up with your lanyard hole, which to each their own. I probably wouldn't necessarily use that, but I might. And I love the fact that there is some subtle jimping over the top. Now just real quick, demonstrating the effectiveness of the clip. In and out of the pocket, simple with ease. Now these pockets aren't overly thick, but you can see just how quick and easy that knife goes right in. Nice and deep, deep ride, melts into your pocket, and for a larger knife, it's actually very flat and tucked out of the way. I can get my hands in and out of my pockets. I can certainly even leverage my cell phone, get that in and out of my pocket, no problem, and still have my knife there, get it in and out. That is sweet. So the pocket clip so far, from what I can tell, extremely effective. The other thing I'm going to point out, I don't even think you're going to be able to see that, but if you look super, super tiny, real tiny on the Ricasso, it does say Nitro V. That is so subtle and almost impossible to see, but it is there. And so all in all, the Civivi Sentinel Strike 2, real nice design. I'm actually very excited to carry this for the foreseeable future. I don't always carry the knives that I cover on the channel. I don't always carry the knives that I, kind of tabletop review, but this is one that just deserves it. It screams capability. It screams performance. It screams comfort, especially with that backspacer. This knife is ready for work. Great choice in the steel. Look at that secondary bevel, that V-grind. Just cannot wait to get to work. This will be an excellent performer for me. I am extremely excited, as I mentioned, to put this to hard use. And thank you again to the people at Civivi who did provide this for review. So if you guys like what you see here today, look in the description box below where you can get all of the relevant links for where you can find your Civivi Sentinel Strike 2. If you like this content, do me a favor and check out my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there. So if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.